Hello dear soulmates. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to cut and sew this elastic band shorts. So if this looks like what you would like to learn, let's dive into the tutorial. I used 1 yard of fabric to cut the shorts and 1 inch elastic for the band. So you can use 1.5 inch or 2 inches depending on what you want. The required measurement to make this short is your hip and the length of the short. So for me, my hip is 40. I added 2 inches east to make it 42. You can add up to 4 inches depending on how free you want the short to be. I use length 18 inches for the length of my short, and I added 2 inches to it to make it 20 inches. That 2 inches will serve as my folding allowance at the down. From my waist to hip line, I use 8 inches, and from my waist to my crotch line, I use 10 inches. I divided my hip, divided by my original hip, not the one I added east to now. My original hip is 40, so I divided it by 4 and I got 10 inches. That's the measurement for the length or from the waist to the crotch line. So whatever you can add ease to it, maybe 1 inch ease, depending on how free you want the crotch area to be. For I did not add any ease to it. I just used the 10 that I got from my original hip divided by 4. So the next thing now is to impute my measurements now. So we've gotten the hip line, the crotch line, and the length of the short. So now, you remember my original hip is 40 and I added 2 inches east to it, which is 42. So now we're using 42 divided by 4. 42 divided by 4 is 10.5. So I'll impute that on the hip line, 10.5. Then I'll also put it on the crotch line, the 10.5. Then I will transfer it to the waist line. Remember, it's an elastic band short, so we'll be using our hip measurement for the waist, not our waist measurement. So we'll be able to put elastic on it. Now I will use my marker now to connect the points. So the next thing is to get the crotch extension. And the formula for calculating the crotch extension is your hip divided by 16. So my hip is 40. I divided it by 16. It gave me 2.5. So I imputed the 2.5. So that is my crotch extension. So the next thing now is to connect to get the curve. So you place your tape on the edge there and measure 1 inch. Just measure 1 inch there. So you get your curve, cross the 1 inch and back to the line there. Just watch the way I'm going to do it now. You can use your free hand, or if you have your curve, you use your curve. So you just curve it around like that. So you set your curve and then curve it out. So I'm using my pen first, after which I will use my marker to show it out. So that is the curve. So the next thing is to take in 1/2 inch from the waist and connect it to the hip. So you mark 1/2 inch, then you curve it to the hip. This give your trouser a little fitting on the waistline. You can even do 1 inch, but half inch is okay. The next thing is to take in half an inch on the down part of your shorts and connect it back to the hip, just like you see me do. So you mark half an inch and then you connect it. You can leave yours straight, but this gives your shorts a little fitting. It's totally optional. So after that, so the next thing is to take the full measurement of what you have on your crotch line and then transfer it to the down of your short. So you transfer it down, whatever you have, you just transfer it down to your short, just like you see me do. Then I came in by half an inch also. I came in by half an inch after transferring my full measurement on what I have on the crotch line to the hip. So I came in by half an inch. After that, I connected it back to the crotch line. So this is how it looks after imputing all the measurements. So this is the front of the shorts. The next thing is to cut the back. But before we cut the back, remember I told you I'm using a 1 inch elastic for the band of my shorts. So I'll be removing that band measurement now. I'll be removing 1 inch from my measurement, just like you see me do. You take out 1 inch. If you are using a 1.5 inch elastic for your band or a 2 inches elastic for your band, you also take out 2 inches. So the reason why I took out 1 inch is because I'm using a 1 inch elastic for my band. So after that, before I cut out, I will be leaving half inch on the top to attach my band to the shorts. So just watch. I'll be leaving half inch at the top to attach my band. So I have cut out the front and I've placed it on another paper to cut the back. At the front side, I left 2 inches at the up. Then on the sides, I left at least on the hip side, I left at least 3 inches on that side to be able to accommodate everything I'm gonna cut. As you can see on the front pattern, I left half an inch to join the elastic band to the shorts. So the next thing is to extend the lines. We extend the hip line and also the crotch line on the back pattern. This way it becomes easy to draft the back pattern. You don't start measuring all over again. So I'm also extending it on the other side of my pattern. So after which I just flipped it open and connect the lines. So I'll be having a straight line all through for the hip line and the crotch line. Now, after extending the lines, the next thing is to mark in 2 inches from the waistline. You mark it inwards 2 inches. Then afterwards, you transfer the 2 inches that you mark inward on from the waist side and bring it to this other side. Then you do the same thing on the hip line, the crotch line, and on the length of the short. So you put in the 2 inches on the hip line, then the same 2 inches on the crotch line, then you extend it on the crotch, on the length of the short. You transfer the 2 inches back there, and then you connect the lines. So the next thing is to mark 2 inches from the front to extend to the back. You mark 2 inches and then you come down by half an inch. You get. Then on the hip line, I just remove the pin from the pattern. Then on the hip line, I'll come in by 1 inch. I'll come in by 1 inch. So after that, I'll connect the lines. So I connected the lines. Remember, from the waist side, I came in by 2 inches. On the hip line, I came in by 1 inch. Then on the crotch, I extended it by 2 inches. Then came down by half inch. Then I connect all the lines together. That's me blending it to prevent any point edges. So the next thing is on the waistline, I went up by 1 inch, just like you see me do. Then I connected it back to the measurement. So if you are the type that have a very big bum bum, you can do 1.5, but 1 inch is fine. So I did 1 inch. So from the crotch line, I connected it back to the end of the short. So that's our back pattern and the front pattern. So the next thing now is to transfer our pattern to our fabric. So I'll cut it out, then we'll cut on the fabric. So this is the back and this is the front. So the next thing, I will bring out my fabric now, then we'll cut. I've placed my front pattern on my fabric. Then the next thing, I will cut it out, and this is also for the back. And after arranging it, I will also cut it out. So this is me pinning it down. Then I'll cut out now. So I'm done with the back pattern and also with the front. So this is the back and this is the front. So I'll go ahead now and stitch half an inch on those sides for both the back and the front. So I've stitched it half an inch for the front and also for the back. I've used half an inch to stitch it, to stitch the both. So the next thing is that I'll fix the pocket. So I've already cut out my pocket. I used 11 by 6. So I used 11 by 6. So I will fix this side now. Look at the way I'm turning the fabric. Right side facing each other. I left half inch at the front, measured 6 inches and sew. So I've sewn it now. This is the 6 inches. The next thing I'm going to do is to notch it. Notch from where the 6 inches from that place and this other side, the beginning and the end of the stitch. After which I flipped it to the other side. Look at the way I'm flipping it. Then I will sew 1/4 of an inch down to press it down with 1/4 of an inch. After sewing it, I'll show you. So this is it. I've sewn it with 1/4 of an inch. Then look at the way I'm arranging it. Then you arrange it like this. You see it now? So I will use 1/2 inch just to stitch that place. Then I will stitch this place also to keep the pocket in place. So this is me pinning it down. So after pinning, I will stitch on the front, on the waistline to hold the pocket. Then on that place, I will stitch also. So I've stitched it, as you can see. You see, I've stitched this place. I stitch it straight. Then on that place, I use 1/2 an inch to hold that side. So this is it now. I'm going to flip it in. You see the way I'm turning it out? Then I will sew with 1/4 of an inch. So I've sewn it with 1/4 of an inch. I'll just trim out the excess now. So this is it after turning it out. So I will just use 1/4 of an inch to sew it down. So I've sewn it down with 1/4 of an inch. Then I also sew it, just use 1/4 of an inch to hold it to the shorts. So that's the pocket. So I'll fix the other side and bring it for you to see. So I'm done fixing the other side. Now the two pockets is fully attached. The next thing I'm going to do now is to join the back and the front together with 1/2 an inch on both sides. So I like to pin it in place so that it does not shift while sewing. So just use your pin to hold it in place before you start sewing. So I will sew it now and I will bring it for you to see. I will sew the two sides and I will also sew the down with 1/2 an inch. So I've sewn it. So let me flip it for you to see. You can see I use 1/2 an inch to sew the sides. So the next thing is to measure the waist round. So I'm going to measure my waist round, then cut my band. So after measuring your waist round, whatever you have, you use it to cut your band. Remember, I'm using 1 inch elastic. So I folded my band to 1.5 inch because I'm using a 1 inch elastic. So the 1/2 inch is for my joining allowance. So if you are using a 2 inches band or a 1.5 inch band, you can leave half inch also for the joining. So I'll be attaching my elastic inside the band. So before that, there's a strap on the shorts. I have cut it out, so this is it. So before I join it, let me go and join the band. So I've joined the band. I left an opening where the strap will be coming out through. You can see it. So now I'll go and fold the strap now. I actually measured 55. You can measure 50 or 60 depending on the available fabric you have, or just times your waist by 2 or by 3, how long you want it to be. You can see the way I folded it. So I'm going to join it now and bring it for you to see. Now I've folded it, so I will attach it now to the band. You know I left an opening. Just watch the way I'm doing it now. I'll take the strap through the opening from the wrong side. You can see it. I'm putting it from the wrong side to the right side. So I just tied it for it not to lose out. You see now, so my strap is inside the band. The next thing, I will measure my elastic. I just removed 4 inches from my waist. My waist is 30. I removed 4 inches. So now I will go and join it. Just use 1/4 inch and join it on the front and on the back. You see, so I've joined it now. I will attach my elastic inside the band. Just watch the way I'm doing it. You see it now. The elastic is now inside the band. You can see. So I've put it inside. I'm going to use 1/2 inch to sew it around the band. So now I have joined in, putting the elastic. So while I was sewing, I was pulling the elastic on the fabric. So you have to pull, if not, you will not be able to sew it round on the band. So the next is to attach it to my short. Now, this is the short. Now I'll be attaching the band to it. So is to note the 2 sides of the band. Then I'll also pin it that way on the short. I'll pin it that way on the short so that it will be easy for me to sew. And when I'm sewing, I will be pulling. If you did not pull when you are sewing, the band will be short, so it will not go round. So you have to pin the 2 ends so that it will be easy for you when you are sewing. Then as you are sewing, you'll be pulling out the band. You know it has elastic already, so you'll be pulling it while you are sewing, so it will go round the waist. So I have fixed it round. So this is it. I ensure that the strap side is facing, you see it now, is facing the joining at the front so that the rope will appear at the front. So this is it. So the next thing now, I'm going to fold the shorts and trim out any excess at the down part. See the way I'm folding it? Just watch the way I'm folding it and fold yours like that. You know the way laundry people used to fold their shorts when ironing? That's the way you fold it. And if there is any excess at the down, you just trim it out. See the way I'm folding it? So if you fold it this way, if there's any excess, you'll be able to trim it out well. And then after this, I'm going to fold the down. So I'm just arranging it well so that everything will come out well. So I'll just trim it out a little. There are some few excesses. I will just trim it out. Then so this is it. I'm done trimming out. So I will just fold it down and bring it for you to see. So this is it. I'm done folding it down. I will iron it and show you the fitting. So this is the final look of the short. After ironing, this is the back view and this is it. So let me know what you think in the comments. Are you going to try it? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.